Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, Dailymotion, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Monday, February 23rd, 2015, around 3:56 p.m. in Belleville, Massachusetts. Sunny day out, but real cold. The temperature's falling. It's now in the teens, and it's going to be cold this week, but no snowstorms, which is good. Some news to report. The Boston Red Sox signed Cuban prospect Yoan Moncada to a contract. He's a great infield prospect. He should be up with the Red Sox in a few years. Also, the Boston Red Sox ownership group bought the Pawtucket Red Sox, the Paw Sox, and they are going to be leaving McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, for a new downtown stadium in Providence, Rhode Island in the near future, which is, makes sense because Providence does not have a minor league baseball team. There was rumors that the Red Sox ownership group were going to move them out of Rhode Island and even into Massachusetts. I heard a rumor they were going to move them to Malden, Massachusetts. I don't know how true that was, but some rumors about that. But that's a good move, that they're going to Providence, the biggest city in Rhode Island. And the last bit of news, the Texas Rangers picked up the 2016 option on third baseman Adrian Beltre, and that's a good move. And that's about it on that. My next subject is about the Ultimate Warriors WWE World Title reign from April 1st, 1990 through January 19th, 1991. The Ultimate Warrior wrestled for the WWE in the world of professional wrestling since 1985, when he was part of Power Team USA, and it was him. He was known as The Rock, and there was another wrestler called Steve Borden, called Flash, and they were a tag team in a stable of two other wrestlers. Eventually, they moved to the Memphis territory and then the Mid-South, when Flash was renamed Sting and The Rock wrestled, and they were called the Blade Runners, but then the Sting stayed with the Mid-South area, and Rock went to World Class Championship Wrestling as the Dingo Warrior. He had face paint, and he stayed at the World Class Championship Wrestling for a year, and then he went to the WWE, became the Ultimate Warrior, and his meteoric rise in the WWE was outstanding. He had so much charisma, the Ultimate Warrior. He shaked the ropes and like that, and he was awesome. He ran to the ring like nuts, and he did some power moves. His famous move was the press slam and falling down and then giving a splash. 1, 2, 3. Ultimate Warrior got a big push. He feuded with Hercules Hernandez. They had a match at WrestleMania 4. And then the Ultimate Warrior got more and more crowd reaction and stuff like that. The fans were behind him. He was getting pushed. He beat the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam 1988. In 30 seconds, he became the new Intercontinental Champion. And then he held that for about 8 months, lost to Ravishing Rick Rude at WrestleMania 5, but regained the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam 1989. And this brought us up to the point with the Ultimate Warrior's WWE title reign. From when the Warrior regained the WWE Intercontinental Championship in August of 1989. There were big rumors going around that the Warrior was being groomed for a possible WWE title run, because he was so over with the crowd. He was so popular. He was selling merchandise like crazy. Ultimate Warrior t-shirts, Ultimate Warrior bandanas, Ultimate Warrior everything. And he had so much good charisma, but he was a limited worker. Plus, his interview skills were horrible. He would grunt a lot. He would say, oh, this is women. I should say the Warriors and stuff like that. His mic skills were awful, in my opinion. Awful. And he was going to be, they were saying he was going to be the next WWE champion. And when I heard about that, I didn't think he would make a good WWE champion, but they planted the seeds for him to face Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. They started planting the seeds at the Royal Rumble 1990 when it was the Warrior and Hulk Hogan in the Royal Rumble match towards the end of it, which that was poorly thought out of. They should have had the Warrior and Hogan, the final two men in the Royal Rumble, not when there was a few wrestlers left over. Hogan won that Royal Rumble, but that was pointless. It should have been the Ultimate Warrior. And then they had a tag team match on Saturday night's main event between the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan against Mr. Perfect and the Genius. Warrior and Hogan won the match, but like the Warrior, I think Hogan accidentally closed on the Warrior, and then they just pushed each other and stuff like that. This was to start up to a match at WrestleMania 6. And like they had a contract signing. It was awesome and stuff. The intense things like crazy and stuff like that. And both Hogan and the Warrior were faces, but the crowd were behind both of them, and it was unbelievable. And then they had Hogan rescue the Warrior from being attacked by Earthquake and Dino Bravo. And then they had the Warrior rescue Hogan from being attacked by Earthquake and Dino Bravo around on Superstars and Wrestling Challenge before WrestleMania 6 happened. And then the match between Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, title versus title at WrestleMania 6 in Toronto, Canada. This was the main event for WrestleMania 6. It was an amazing match. It was probably the Warrior's best match ever and was over 20 minutes. And Hulk Hogan delivered the leg drop to the Warrior, but the Warrior kicked out at 2. And then the Warrior beats Hogan 1, 2, 3. And then Warrior becomes the new WWE champion. Hogan grabs the belt, and he grabs the belt, but the referee grabs it first. I think it was Hogan was supposed to give the belt to the Warrior. And then he shakes his hand and stuff like that, and Hogan goes out on that cart, and then the Warrior has a spotlight to himself as new WWE champion, and he was still Intercontinental champion, but he had to forfeit that title because he couldn't hold 2 titles in the WWE at all. And I mean 2 singles titles, he couldn't hold them. And then I think this was plans for the Ultimate Warrior to be a long-time WWE champion, because Hogan was going to go to do a full-time career in Hollywood but make special appearances. And then they had the Ultimate Warrior feud with Ravishing Rude. They did this same thing in 1989 with Rude as the Intercontinental Champion and the Warrior chasing him, but Rude was chasing the Warrior as WWE Champion, and Ravishing Rude had long hair, but they cut it short so he could be more of a serious wrestler to the Warrior. And also he stopped that shenanigans for a time for kissing the ladies and stuff. And they had a long, like an over 4-month feud at house shows with Ravishing Rude against the Ultimate Warrior. And these house shows drew horrible. It was unbelievable. The WWE Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, drawing horrible at house shows. And they had the blow-off feud at SummerSlam 90 in a steel cage match, where the Warrior beat Ravishing Rude pretty easily. When there was the payoffs for SummerSlam, Warrior got like so much more money than Ravishing Rude for being in the main event, because I think both of them should have gotten not equal pay, but like the Ravishing Rude should have got like a little more extra than not the Warrior, but like around this, but it was like that. And then Ravishing Rude leaves the WWE, and then they put the Ultimate Warrior in 6-man tags with the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, against Demolition for house shows all over the country, and the Warriors not defending the WWE title, and those 6-man tags were like very poorly drawn as well, and the Warrior was becoming a big-time flop as WWE champion. He defended it sometimes on other house shows against Ted DiBiase and Randy Macho Man Savage, who was Macho King back then. Even though the Warrior was selling merchandise like crazy, he was a poor drawing WWE champion. There were plans at WrestleMania 7 to have a rematch between the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan at the LA Coliseum, but those plans were really scrapped because of Warrior being a poorly drawn champion, and a new angle about like Sergeant Slaughter becoming an American turncoat and sympathizing with Iraq during the Persian Gulf War, Operation Desert Storm. And Vince McMahon had us cut short the Ultimate Warrior's title reign because to put the belt on Sergeant Slaughter for so as a transitional champion, so Slaughter could lose it to Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 7. And they did this title switch at Royal Rumble 1991. It was, and before the title match, the Ultimate Warrior had an interview. Sensational Queen Sherri, who was the Macho King's manager, wanted the Warrior to give Macho King a title shot at the WWE Championship if he won at Royal Rumble, but the Ultimate Warrior rejected it. And then, the match between the Ultimate Warrior and Sergeant Slaughter at the Royal Rumble was a pretty good match, decent match, but interference by Sensational Queen Sherri and Macho King Randy Savage was interrupted the match. Warrior almost won the match, but at the end, Slaughter knocked him over near the ropes, and Macho King Randy Savage hit the Ultimate Warrior with the scepter, and Sergeant Slaughter pins him 1, 2, 3. Sergeant Slaughter wins the WWE title. Ultimate Warrior's title is over, and Ultimate Warrior runs back to the dressing room. And this was the end of the Ultimate Warrior's title reign, which, as him being champion, he had the potential to be probably a very great champion. When Ultimate Warrior won the belt from Hogan at WrestleMania 6, I thought Warrior could have been champion at least 2, 3, 4 years because he had so much charisma, and I thought it was going to be another Hogan. I thought they were going to build him to be another Hulk Hogan, but I think it was him being a poorly drawing champion during the summer of 1990. That's what probably killed him having faith with the suits with the WWE. And plus, there was still a shadow. People were still wanting Hogan back as WWE champion and stuff like that. And plus, the other thing is the Ultimate Warrior's mic skills were awful, and plus he wasn't like a corporate guy, the Ultimate Warrior. I give the Ultimate Warrior's title reign from 1990 through 1991 for the WWE as a C- in my opinion. It had great potential, but the lack of quality opponents for the Warriors, like the rehashing of the Rick Rude feud from the year before, that was not necessary. That was unnecessary. The Warriors should have feuded with somebody else, maybe $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase or Macho King Randy Savage or Mr. Perfect. That would have been a good feud. You didn't have to rehash a storyline from the previous year because the fans didn't buy it. And that's what did in the Warrior for a long-term WWE champion. Warrior I liked Warrior as champion of WWE, but the reign should have been longer, and Warrior never won another title in the WWE after that. He was in and out of the company several times. He was blacklisted from the company for a while. He went to WCW. He was basically out of the wrestling business for years. He came back to be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014, and 4 days later he passes away at the age of 54. That's so sad. And the Warrior spirit lives on. And that's about it on about the Ultimate Warrior's WWE title reign of 1990-1991. Had potential to be a long-term champion, but things never worked out. That's about it. Third and final video blog of the night will be about LA Clippers head coach and president of basketball operations, Glenn Doc Rivers. And coming soon, it's Julie Broughton time on these video blogs, and Heidi Lee Pratt time. Have a good day. See you tonight, everybody.